Merry meet everyone. Welcome back to Midnight Fantasy Creation. Today I wanted to do a nice little pumpkin earring, or you can probably even do like a pumpkin like figurine or incorporate this technique to do other kinds of 3D figurines or earrings. Like I may do snowmen or something along those lines for Christmas or the Yule season. Winter season, if you will. But for today, I wanted to do something simple and fall festive. Wouldn't mind putting glitter in this, though. I wonder if the glitter will work. All right, anyways, I'm probably going to think about that. So I am actually going to be using some clear UV putty or UV clay, depending on, I don't know, I guess the brand, but this one says both. This one is supposed to be for nails. It is a solid, what does that say, solid or building gel? It's supposed to actually be to build your nails for like in like manicures and pedicures when you want to extend the nails longer than what they actually are. So I have, hold on, where like this one. So in order to kind of match these two up with these two, you would use something like this to extend the nails, to paint on them and decorate them and get them to match without having to use a tip. I mean, you can use a tip, it'll make it thicker and easier to use, but I'm not doing that today. I want to try doing a nice, like I said, a nice pumpkin earring. So I'm going to start with this mold. This is just a bunch of different sphere sizes. So I want to do probably this one right here. I think this isn't going to be too big. It's hard to tell by looking at it. These might be too small. So I'm going to do this. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to mix up some resin, and I am going to use the UV resin from Let's Resin. I think this is just their cleared heart type. Nothing special. And I'm going to do a nice dollop because this is going to be my base. I did, however, try to see if I can mix the UV resin, the alcohol inks in it, which you can do, but it gets extra tacky and sticks to your skin or your finger caught, because technically I think these are less toxic, but as you see on this finger caught, it like just stuck to it and then I couldn't work it and it was just getting stringy and gross, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm not doing that. I didn't try it with the powder, though. So I do have, let's see, I have the crushed crystals and I have the Luna so I can probably test it either adding a little gold accent with the giant gold, or maybe just adding a little glitter from the Luna Pearl, or the crushed crystals from Unicorn Art. The Luna Pearl looks to be a little bit more of a finer glitter. If I were to do something, it would probably be with the Marblers glitters instead of the crushed crystals. Not that I wouldn't mind doing this. Probably really good to do with the snowmen. So that's a good idea for the future. I would have to probably use a very minute amount, but I will test that here after I do the actual pumpkin. So I'm going to be using the Cheap Arts alcohol ink in yellow and orange, only because this orange is too dark. So I'm going to do 1 drop of the orange, and I'm gonna do 1 drop of the yellow, but I may add a second drop only because I don't think 1 drop is enough. And of course I have my lovely silicone tool, and I did mention in the last video that I bought these, maybe not this particular one because I think I got the purple set from Hobby Lobby. I don't remember where I got the teal ones. Maybe I got those at Hobby Lobby too, but I tried going online and I could not find them online, and I couldn't find them on Amazon. So I linked a different type of tool on it that still has that pointy silicone tip, so you can do the witch's hat. So if I can't find these linked anywhere, I'll probably just continue to link the other ones. It's not a bad orange, but I think I'm going to add 1 more thing of yellow in it because I don't want it as orange, and I think there's a hair in there. I really miss my office. Yep, there's a hair in there. Don't do this without using gloves. I'm not supposed to be touching this. I've got ink all over the place, but anyways, so that's better. I like that better. This looks nice. It's not too much of an intense orange. I don't want it to look too red, and I feel like that orange is too red. Debating whether I would add another one. Nah, that should be fine. All right. So let's see. I'm using this one here, and I'm going to try to just drip this in slowly to make sure the air comes out of it. Granted, I might get too impatient and just start making a mess like I usually do. And if you can't see what I'm doing, I'm sorry. If you have a needle nose bottle, that would work really well. And And I don't need to fill it all the way because I am going to stick something else in this. So like I said, I'm going to do earrings. Where is it? So I got these from Walmart. They're the flat head pins for jewelry. And I am going to stick this in here. Wait, I want to get rid of these bubbles. I might need to let this sit. You know what? While this is sitting, I might play with the putty for a bit. Because I'm really curious to see if I can get that glitter to work. So, I'm just going to this off. I don't want a lot. Let's see if I can. Nope. Nope, that tool is too. Okay, so this lovely tool came from, what was it? What was a company called? Curve. I have their nail glue somewhere. Came in a kit for nails. It was a UV gel glue. And I can't find where I literally just had it 2 seconds ago. I knocked on the floor. Anyways, so it came in a kit for the nail glue to put my nails on when I got for the wedding that I mentioned in, actually I think that was the last video. So I'm just using this to kind of scoop out, because yeah, my fingers are still sticking to this. Okay. All right, that's better. I don't want a lot. I need enough just to go around the outer rim of the pumpkin. And I'm just testing this out. I already wasted all of this. Is this still... Okay. Oh, look at that. You might just need to let it sit long enough. Oh, there we go. That's awesome. All right. So if you do an alcohol ink, see, it's already starting to stick to me. You got to be careful about that. You're going to need to let it sit and rest, because I got it all over my fingers when I was doing this, and it was sticking, like, here we go, like this. And then I had to clean it off, and yeah, no, putting this away. Okay. I think my fingers are warming it up too much. So I want to see if my hands are going to do that with the, oh, get off me, with the glitter in the, just the clear one. With this kind of UV putty, if you let it sit, it will eventually sink and settle. That was originally a ball, and it's already like pretty flat on one side. Just keep that in mind. You can't let it sit too long, especially if you made something like a nice little sculpture, because you will lose. It'll flatten and squish itself out. It's not entirely solid. Okay, I just want a little more of that. Let's use this. I don't want too much. I just want a little dab. It should be good. Of course, this glitter goes everywhere. And I'm just going to roll it right over the glitter. And kind of knead it in. It might have been too much glitter. Okay. And we're just going to work it in, although my fingers are still sticking to it. Not 100% positive if you are supposed to be using gloves with this. You probably should put on a finger cot. So those of you who are into nails and know, have used these. Oh, here's the glue. So this is the glue, Curve Life Solid Nail Glue. This is what this little tool came with my nails. So if you guys like doing your own nails, that's a good place to get like press-ons and the gel wrap, what do you call those? The gel wraps on the nails and stuff. Well, the glitter is definitely working. You can definitely get it in there. I'm gonna let this sit and settle and see how that looks once it settles down. I'm gonna move this out of the way. I'm gonna put this back down here. I think most of the bubbles came out. I think most of those bubbles came out. All right. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to move that out of the way. I don't need to cure that. I'm taking this tray out of the way because the sucker is big. Now I have my double-sided lamp, and I am just going to plop the whole thing in there because it's going to light it from both the top and the bottom at the same time. I don't need to worry about flipping it. Actually, what's the other side's button? Is it a button or is it touch? Let me flip this over. It is a button. Oh, I gotta stick it on this side. So you do have to plug in whatever side you are going to use to turn it on. that, or else it's not going to work, and making sure those connectors are lined up. We're going to put that in here. I wanted the button so I can leave this on top and not have to worry about moving it. If you want to get a silicone mat just this big, I got this one out of a set. There was two small ones. There was a pink one and a blue one, two medium ones and two large ones, like each size. One was pink and one was blue. This is the perfect size for these to help protect your buttons. Or you can leave the protective plastic coating on it so they don't get dirty. But today I'm leaving, I took that off and I like using this. Anyways, I'm going to set this for, oh, hold on. I'm scatterbrained today. So I'm taking my flathead pen and I'm sticking it right in, and I'm going to wind up holding it in place while it's in here, kind of about halfway up, so it won't shear at an awkward angle like it's doing right now, because I'm not holding it. And I'm going to let this set for 3 minutes, but I'm only going to hold it for probably about a minute or so, just until it cures long enough for me to let it go. All right. I'm just going to test this out and see if this is solid. It is. Sweet. I'm going to pop it. So now we have a nice round base to use our pumpkin with a nice color. Granted, I don't know, it's looking pretty red. That's what I don't like, is how red that orange looks. And I put 2 drops of yellow in there. So I'm hoping with the gold, it's going to make it look a little bit more orange than that red. But anywho, let's get this over here. I am going to hopefully encase this. There we go. I'm going to smush this around. That might be too much gold. Yeah, that might be too much gold. You can't really see the orange at all. Let this sit for a little bit. Okay, where's my tool? So we are going to be using this nice silicone tool to hopefully kind of maneuver this the way we want it. If any of you have ever played with let's get that glitter off. If any of you have ever played with polymer clay, this is probably going to be somewhat up your alley, because it's more of a UV than a polymer clay. It definitely doesn't have the same texture consistency, but it is along the same concept or line of the UV. I mean the polymer clay. All right. Let's see if I can put the little pumpkin ridges in here. The reason why I wanted to put the ball underneath and the UV putty on the outside was to put the little pumpkin lines in. So you know pumpkins have those little ridges. Actually, that might work to my favor. This might take some time. So basically, the orange underneath is giving it a nice base to keep even how far you can push the putty to make an actual ridge. And you can maneuver this as long as you like till you get it to where you want it. If you don't like it, you can smush it all up and try it again. And they don't need to be perfect, because pumpkins, like everything else in nature, isn't perfect. All right, and that looking pretty good. I'm just going to let it sit after I smooth some of these spots out where they stick out too much, because it does get nice and shiny and flattens out when you let it sit. don't know if I like the color of this though. I have an orange glitter for marbles, but it's, again, not too orange. I think it's called blood orange, and it's kind of a reddish color, like a reddish orange, and it's not a very good pumpkin orange, which is kind of annoying. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. I think the next one I'm gonna do like an orange base, and I just want to do clear over it to see what it looks like. This is still very yellow. You can see a little bit of the orange underneath, but this is very yellow. I think that was too much gold. Might add a little more yellow to the orange too. So I'm gonna stick this under the UV. Actually, no, I'm gonna hold it because I feel like it's gonna warp if I don't straighten that out. All right. So I'm gonna let this go under the lamp for a few minutes, let it harden, and then let it finish setting. Afterwards, and then I'm gonna mix some more of the color up. I need get some more UV because that's not enough to fill another pumpkin. One more drop of the yellow because it's still too orange or too red. There we go. I think this should be good. Just leave alone. And let's mix this up. I don't know. I might want to do one more drop of yellow. So that was 3 drops of yellow. We're going to do 4 drops of yellow. I don't know how much this camera is going to focus on me, but I'm going to try using the spout to pour it in. Using this as a base also helps keep the pumpkins the same size. So you're not getting several different sizes, especially if you're making earrings. And of course, if you want a different size, there's different size spheres on this one, on this mold. I don't remember where I got it. I don't remember if it was from BB Crafts or Amazon, but I'll have to look. I will link it in the descriptions below as well. So I'm going to let this sit while this is finished curing, and then I'm just going to put a clear putty over it. All right. So this is still slightly tacky to the touch, but it is solid. And that is what it looks like. I think it's going to look better clear, though. Well, that doesn't look too bad. It needs a leaf and maybe a stem. There's a little... Oh, I need to be on camera. Anyways, so this is a little tacky, and I'm debating whether to cure it in water or just stick it under the light for another 5 minutes. Might stick under the light for another 5 minutes. I might actually leave it in here while this is curing under the light. Yeah, okay, that should be good. Here, and where are... Alright, so this is actually not as tacky. Still has some sticky spots. That's looking pretty good. And let's get this one out. And the orange is a little bit better. Still not my favorite, but not as red. It's actually a little more orange. And we are going to do the next pumpkin. Now, I have seen molds for the fall leaves in general. If I had one of those, I would probably do a nice little mini one. Unfortunately, I do not. Let's see where I can stick this thing where it's not getting ruined. I'm just going to take up a nice dollop like I did before. This is actually a decent sized putty container. So, alright, we're going to just do clear. And I am just going to wrap it around. Where's my tool? Hopefully get it nice and even. You can definitely see the orange a lot better with this with the clear than you did the glitter, which I figured as much. Right, now I want to do this kind of one swift motion, so let's start off here and just work all the way around. I don't want to put as many grooves in it as I did in the last one. And I want them to be a little more even. Made it thicker on this side than that side. And that's what I meant by, if you don't like how it looks, you can adjust it. Although I might just smush this all together again. Hold on. Try to get rid of that line. Because one side was a little bit thicker than the other. I don't like that. I don't know how well you can see the fingerprints you put on this when you use your fingers, but it smooths itself out once you let it sit long enough. So I'm not too worried about the fingerprints. I am, however, worried if I had stuff on my fingers, so definitely make sure you don't have anything on your fingers when you do this. Alright, I don't want to split this in 4s. I want to split it in 6s. So much better. Of course, I'm flattening this out a little bit because pumpkins are not perfectly rounded, but they're also not too misshapen either. So I don't want it to be too flat, but I don't want it to be too round. That actually looks way better than the first one I did. So give yourself a nice system to do this with, and of course you can adjust it wherever you deem necessary. And the more you do this, the better you are going to get at it. And once you have a nice system down, this will actually work quite nicely for you. Just let it sit to settle for a few minutes before putting it in the UV lamp. Oops. Crap, there you go. That actually looks, I think that looks really cool. I definitely like how that came out. And I want to see if I can do a nice green leaf. I do have green glitter. Alright, I'm going to let this sit under the light. And I'm going to get some green glitter. So I have this lime pearl on hand. Don't know if this is going to look good with the earrings, but we are going to try it out anyways. Let's see if I can make a small little leaf. That might have been too much. Grab some more of the putty. Make sure it doesn't get anywhere near the UV light. That was a bad idea. Let's grab this tool again and just scoop out some of this. There we go. That should be good enough. Let's just knead that in place. Where's the button? I don't want to hit the button. This would be a great way to make the sorting hat. As soon as I can figure out a good color to make that brown. Tough ways to stick to your skin. don't know how well I'm going to be able to make a leaf, but we are going to try. I'm going to put this under here for another 5 minutes. I don't know if I want to do a nice basic leaf. To be honest, I don't even know what a pumpkin leaf looks like. I don't know. That looks good. Let's get this out of the way. Stick that off to the side. I don't know if I can lift this. I'm ruining it. Here we go. Oh, where's that pumpkin? And I already messed it up. I don't know, what do you think? Does that look like a leaf? If I can get a good green, I could probably do the poison apples from Snow White. That might be fun one year. I think that looks cute. Under there. Let's see if I can just break off a piece. Maybe make a stem. No. Don't stick to the pumpkin. Abort mission. Shoot. That stuff's stickier than I thought. Maybe I should have done the stem first. Try this one more time. Come on. Tweezers. Where did I put my trusty tweezers? There they are. Stubborn little thing. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. All right, well, that's going to take some practice. I am going to get some water and try. So Daniel Cooper used to cure some of his pieces in a cup in water. I am going to try that trick because this stuff is still tacky to the touch and it's not curing right. I'm going to let this sit under the light for the 5 minutes and see if that makes a difference. If not, I'm going to have to coat this in probably the low viscosity resin because that seemed to work better with the witch's hat. And hopefully I don't destroy the look of the pumpkin. What are you doing, Ghost? All right, let's see how this is looking. That got a little messed up. The rest of this looks pretty good. Does that look like a pumpkin? I think it looks like a pumpkin. And it's got that cool effect on it. It being clear and the color on the inside. Afraid to use paper towel on this thing, but we are going to do it anyways. Just want to dry it off. It's still tacky. I don't. It might be UV putty but it is just tacky like crazy. I may need to coat this with some UV resin. Where's my low viscosity? That's high viscosity. It's the thick stuff. All right, let's get this water out of the way. Bring this back over here. I need to clean that off. Just in case I need to rest it on something, I don't need all that glitter all over it. Let's try this. I don't want to lose all my little ridges. So I'm going to try to flatten this out. If I had a little mini silicone brush, I would use that, but I don't. To clean in between the pumpkins real quick and then stick it under the light. If you're doing this, to rotate your pumpkin to make sure the UV resin isn't settling all in one spot. Just for a little while, not for too long. Just want it long enough where it is not tacky to the touch and I can put it down. All right, I'm just going to let it sit. Not touch it for another 5 minutes. I shall be back. All right, so that is a little bit better. It's not as tacky, and I didn't totally destroy the shape of the pumpkin, which is awesome. You can still see where some of that green got stuck. So if you wanted to coat the pumpkin before you, no, because then you'd have to coat the leaf and the stem afterwards. But that is what the pumpkin and the UV putty will look like. I do want to try making a snowman. These will be definitely more handmade, more custom. No two will be alike. You can add your own little special pizzazz or twist to it. And of course, depending on either, I don't know if it's the intensity of the UV light or the quality of the UV putty, but I'm pretty sure they shouldn't be that tacky. So I can probably try finding my Resineer's lamp, which should be around here. I think I packed it away. But yeah, I can try doing maybe a more intense UV light. This one's still very tacky, and this has been under there for like 15 minutes. But here's a nice gold one. So these are good, 2 good charm ideas. You can hook them, which I may show you on camera if I can find where my tools went to, because I still have not been able to find them, which is a real bummer. I have 2 of them, and I have no clue where either of them went to. All right, so I did a second one off camera, and this one came out pretty good. And I did coat it with resin because I also stuck it under a different UV lamp, the Resiner's lamps that I noticed always seemed a little stronger than the Let's Resin, but it's still tacky after I take it out, so it's probably just the type of resin. I did buy a cheap one just to kind of play around with it. So if I use it to make anything, I'm definitely going to need to coat it in something a little more of a higher quality. But this one came out a little bit bigger, even though I used the same size center. I just accidentally put way too much clear over it when I did it. But I want to show you how to put a hook on it. If you guys have seen me do this already, you can skip past this part. If not, this would be a great way to learn how to put hooks on your earrings and jewelries or pendants, because you don't need to put an earring on this. I'm just going to show you how to do the hoop. What is it called? Not a jump ring, but put an eye on it. So you can either put a jump ring or a hoop. You can make it a charm for like a bracelet, for earrings, for whatever you want. So I am going to grab the tools I need because I did find it. I know it took me a little while to find them. I have 2 of these. This is my big one. This is a needle-nosed, what are these called? think they call it round needle nose pliers. I can't remember off the top of my head. So what I am going to do is I am going to bend the needle, the wire, all the way to the side. I'm hoping not to break my pumpkin. And then I am going to take, so you have it bent at a 90-degree angle. And then you're going to put this as far down. The farther down you go, the bigger the opening for, or the ring, I guess you can say, for the eye hole is going to be. And then the closer to the tip, the smaller it's going to be. I want it to be, because these are quite long and narrow and they taper off very slowly, I'm thinking maybe about here would be a good start. So grab your pliers and then grab the wire and just bend it all the way around until it's almost touching to the other side. And actually that's kind of bigger than I wanted it to be, so I definitely probably shouldn't have gone that far down. But where are my wire snipples? You can go about right here, and I can make it smaller that way. And remember to hold, if you've seen one of my videos, I've mentioned to hold the wire that you're cutting off because it will shoot off if you're not careful. Then you can injure somebody with that, especially if you have cats like I do. So I went about here, so we're going to go about here. And I'm going to take this and I am going to just continue twisting it until it connects to where I want it. And there you have a nice opening to either put a jump ring or a chain or a hook or whatever you want. And that is our lovely little pumpkin. And I can do the same thing for this one. I do kind of like how this one looks better because I don't know, it's a little more detailed. The leaves came out better, everything kind of came out a little bit better on this one. So we're going to bend this way 90 degrees, and I don't want to go all the way down like I did last time. I'm going to go right here, and we're going to bend this all the way over until it touches, so that's much smaller. And then we're going to snip it, the extra off, right here. And then I'm going to continue swinging this around until it touches. And sorry if I was off camera for that part. And there you go. That almost looks perfect. And you got a little pumpkin. And of course, I think it bent sideways. Yeah, that's fine. And there is our autumn, fall, Thanksgiving, whatever you want to make them for, nice, festive, seasonal pumpkin. So I have noticed if you do use the 3D resin, if you use the resin putty or clay, depending on which one you buy, depends on how they want to call it, I would definitely go with something a little bit better quality than what I got. Like I said, I just wanted to mess around with it to see if I could actually do what I wanted with it. And you can make little cute items. It's not as durable as clay. You let it sit, it continues to sink and flatten out and lose its shape. So you do have to cure it kind of quickly after making it. You don't want to make 5 separate pieces to put them together and then find out it's all a blob and you lost its shape. Like this, for instance, these were beads. I made them balls and they flattened down to almost nothing. So it was a round piece like this little tiny thing right here. And then it just flattened down to where it is now. So that is something you need to consider when you're working with this. Also, you can put alcohol inks in to color it, like these. If you do that, you definitely want to let them rest out of the UV light, out of sunlight, UV light, any kind of light. Keep it in the dark, but you definitely want to let it have air and you want it to rest, let the alcohol evaporate out of it. Because if you don't, trust me, it will get gooey and sticky and it will be way harder to work with than it were if you were to let it sit for a little bit. Ooh, excuse me. So that's another thing you need to keep in mind with working with the putties. So that is it for today's video. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up. Of course, subscribe to my channel. You can support my channel by subscribing. shopping. If you've already subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. You can also hit the bell. It'll let you know when I have new videos posted, and I have been doing them roughly about twice a month because that's what I have time for, because I tried doing the short ones with the long ones and it wasn't working as well as I was hoping. So I do apologize about that, but it seems like I can get away with doing one every couple of weeks. So with that being said, thank you for sticking around and supporting my channel. I do appreciate it. Of course, you can always comment below. Just keep it kind and friendly as always. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can also shop on my online store at midnightfantasycreation.com, as well as on Etsy and eBay. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Merry part until we can merry meet again. Blessed be. Bye.